New York City, the most romantic city on earth, or so we thought. Now it holds the world's largest homeless population. Los Angeles, this used to be the American dream. Now everywhere you turn is filled with trash, drugs, and homelessness. Over 35% of its population can't even afford its basic needs.
Colorado, this used to be a safe mountain escape, the fresh air, fresh start state. Now it holds a massive homeless population with a 90% increase in just the past 4 years.
And this is Philadelphia, one of the most important cities in US history. And now parts of it look like this. This right here is Kensington, Philadelphia. The locals call it Zombieland. Why, you ask? It's the place souls go to die. But once you enter, you're never getting out. These aren't random places, these aren't random people, but something is happening here. This is the effect of a drug called Tranq, the deadliest drug combo in US history, or so we thought. But to understand how the country got here, we need to go back to know the full story. If I'm gonna be honest, I didn't believe it until I saw it. People bent in half, like their spines were incapable of holding them up anymore. People literally asleep, standing up. People rotting from the inside out.
That's meth this morning?
Yeah, I missed meth this morning. It was trash. I wonder what it got.
I wish I was exaggerating. I wish it wasn't real. And so I should warn you, what I'm about to show you is graphic. It is scary, but it is real. You need to understand the problem first before you can fix it. And that's why I'm here, to show you the straight facts. No news, no propaganda, no bullshit. Every night in America, over 770,000 people have no homes. That's the highest number ever recorded. But stats don't fucking matter when you look someone in the eyes and there's no soul. There are 75,000 people here in LA alone, not including any of the outskirts cities. And yet, there's entire streets filled with tent cities.
And Colorado, most people think it's clean, safe, and tucked away from the problem. The state counted nearly 53,000 people seeking help for homelessness in just 1 year. And that's probably half of what it actually is. Many of them kids, families, and people being forced into human trafficking just to get by.
But Philly got hit hard. With over 825,000 people participating in illegal street drugs, it is now the largest open drug market in the United States. A once beautiful place known for its iconic streets is now crumbled and beat. But let me make this extremely simple. This isn't a homeless problem that became a drug problem. This is a drug problem that's creating a new era of homelessness. And nobody, not the cities, not the cops, not the politicians, were ready for what came next. But how did we get here in the first place? Thousands of years ago, opium was used as medicine across many ancient civilizations. Egypt, China, Greece, Rome, all used it to take a little bit of the edge off the pain. Then the 19th century brought the opium wars between China and Britain. The opium wars were when Britain and France fought China to force it to open its markets. You see, China wanted to stop the British opium smuggling from India because it created massive addiction and trade imbalances. Obviously, China lost, but it wasn't until the 20th century where things got really bad. That's where drugs shifted from being used primarily as medicine to being abused. Morphine, heroin, cocaine, all of them, all of a sudden. In the blink of an eye, we had a global addiction crisis.
Every day brings another story about the depth of this country's opioid crisis.
New flesh-eating drug heaping further misery on the drug addiction crisis in America.
America didn't see it coming, or so they said. But pharmaceutical companies started marketing painkillers like they're fucking Flintstone gummies, and doctors overprescribed.
Don't be afraid to take what they give you. Often, it will be an opioid medication. Less than 1% of patients taking opioids actually become addicted.
But people became dependent, and heroin came back. And that wasn't even the worst of it. The 21st century brought on a new drug called fentanyl, which was 50 times stronger than any heroin on the market. And once you get hooked, you're done. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, dealers introduced Tranq. They wanted highs that lasted longer. They wanted to glue people to the product so they would keep coming back for more.
Tranq now mixed into 90% of Philadelphia's fentanyl and heroin supply.
And then they added xylazine, a horse tranquilizer. Yeah, an actual horse tranquilizer.
When horses need a pain reliever or a sedative, a vet can prescribe xylazine.
Then we give a dose of a couple of different drugs, called induction drugs, which are given fairly rapidly intravenously. The horse is then rendered unconscious and slumps to the ground.
But the drug, approved only for horses, is being mixed with the highly addictive drug fentanyl.
But let me show you what it actually does to you. It doesn't just get you high, it shuts off blood flow, causes deep wounds, slows breathing so much that Narcan barely works. Tranq turns people into statues, living mannequins. It shuts down their entire bodies and turns them into what some call zombies. The fentanyl was already bad enough, but when xylazine was added to the mix, it made it nearly impossible for someone who started to ever quit. But before you judge anyone using this stuff, ask yourself, what level of pain would you need to be in to inject an animal tranquilizer into your arm behind a gas station? If you haven't lived that pain, then you don't get to judge it. For some of us, it's hard to even comprehend why someone would choose such a life. But the truth is, most of them didn't. They were kids looking up to their drug addict parents. They were forgotten and given up on by everyone in their life.
To get clean, I've been getting high, since 11.
11 years old?
Yeah.
How did you first get introduced to drugs?
My mom.
You might see a crackhead with a choice, but here's the brutal facts. Your perception of reality is only based on your past memories. And so you grew up with good food on your table, a healthy environment. And so that is your normal. They grew up in the streets, selling their body and drugs for money. For them, that's normal. This city spends billions on shelters and still can't keep up with the amount of people pouring into the streets. The subways become the living room, the bedroom, their shelter. There's no city in America where fantasy and reality are this close together. Hollywood shows you a magical wonderland, but behind closed doors is a reality most people never want to see. LA keeps doing sweeps, which basically means they move your entire life 40 feet to the left and don't actually do shit. Because, yeah, that's solving the problem.
Denver pretended it was immune, but then the numbers exploded. It has more people experiencing homelessness than some countries.
But Philly, this is where Tranq became mainstream. It's literally an open-air pharmacy. You can buy Tranq next to a family Dollar Tree with a cop watching you and they won't do shit. Therefore, this became the blueprint for America's worst-case future. Nightfall in Philly is where the drug dealers make their money. Tranq, it shuts down your system and eats you from the inside out. But unfortunately, it's not the worst thing on the street anymore. So let me say the quiet part out loud, the part nobody wants to hear. We didn't find Tranq, we created the perfect environment for Tranq. What is that? High rent, zero mental health access, and cheap synthetic drugs. The drug wasn't the first domino, it was the last.
For the rest of the series, I'm gonna be following a few different people. Some of them have already made it out. Others are still fighting for their lives. I don't know how their stories end, but I do know ignoring them doesn't make it disappear. Nobody chooses this. Nobody wakes up one day and it's like, yeah, I'd love to inject a horse tranquilizer just to survive my own thoughts. But unfortunately, life hits pretty damn hard sometimes, and their past traumas hit even harder. And the cheapest drug on the streets right now is strong enough to kill a damn horse.
Episode 2 isn't about Tranq anymore. It's about what it feels like to live in America's zombie lands. You've seen the origins, but now we're going straight into the heart of it. Episode 2, Inside the Zombie Lands of America.